Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's very nice to have us all here live and in person. If you'll indulge me just for a moment. Benji, I've known you now for about 10 plus years since I got down to Florida. Benji and I have had numerous interesting conversations over the years, most of which took place in shul during davening. So there was one time when the rabbi came over and he actually was shushing us, telling us to be quiet. Without missing a beat, Benji turns around and says, "Rabbi, stop. I'm trying to have a conversation over here." But when it came time for Tfilah Shalom Medinat Yisrael, for the prayer for the state of Israel, or the Mishavera for Tzahal, or the prayer for the welfare of the IDF, you went quiet and were very serious. It is very clear that your passion, as well as Dorit's passion for Israel, as well as the Jewish people everywhere, is tremendous. And we are very fortunate to have you as one of our AIPAC leaders. So thank you very much. There are a lot of people in this room that I've already met, but for those who I have not had an opportunity to meet yet, my name is John Zucker. I'm the new director at AIPAC here in Broward. Now earlier, Benji mentioned some of the incredible list of accomplishments that we've had just over the past year. There are also a number of challenges that we have as we move forward. Tonight, we will address those challenges. We have a great program for you tonight. We will start off with Brigadier General and former Director of the Counterterrorism Bureau in Israel, Nitzan Nuriel. General Nuriel is one of the most knowledgeable experts on Israel's security, a paramount concern as terror attacks in Israel have increased just over the last few months. Then we'll close out our program with a political panel featuring two of America's leading election experts, Brad Todd and Ashley Walker. They'll join us to break down the midterm elections as well as the 2024 elections coming up. We will highlight some of the key takeaways for our movement as we continue our push into politics. Now, before I get on with our program, I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about myself and why I chose to work here at AIPAC. I was born in New York. I grew up in a fiercely Zionistic home. My mother was a child of Holocaust survivors. My grandfather grew up in Poland. At the ripe old age of 17, he recognized that the Nazis were coming and he would have to run. So he ran. On foot, he made his way from Poland to Paris. After making his way to Paris, he realized again, Nazis were marching and he again would need to run. So he ran. He got aboard the ship the Normandy, which was called the Ship of Lights. It was considered one of the preeminent cruise liners at the time. But for him, this was no cruise. You see, he wasn't a passenger on the Normandy. He was a stowaway. He was literally hiding inside the panels of the ship itself. When he got to the United States, he got here with just the proverbial shirt on his back. Only for him, this was no proverb. For him, this was his reality. As for me, I've made Aliyah twice so far. I served in the IDF for 3 years. I served in Handasa Kravit, that's the combat engineers, which means that my specialty was in mines and explosives. And I can honestly say that yes, I absolutely had a blast. When we had our graduation ceremony from basic training, my grandfather was actually there. For a little while, he was talking to some of my fellow soldiers, and he had a whole group around him where he was telling them about his story. And at the end, he looked at all of us and he said that he was never more proud. He recognized at that moment that Jews would never again need to run. He knew that because of us, Israel would always remain safe and strong. Now, I've been here at AIPAC for all of 6 months so far. But in that short amount of time, I've seen an incredible amount of dedication and professionalism from the staff here at AIPAC. Even more than that, I've seen steadfast commitment and engagement from all of you here tonight. I can honestly say without hesitation that if we continue the work that we've been doing, my grandfather will have been proven right, and we will never again need to run, and Israel will always remain safe and strong. Now, tonight's program, again, is off the record and close to the press, so without further ado, let's get underway.